She's a killer queen. Hi, welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's the sequel, The Babysitter, The Killer Queen. 2 years after Cole survived a satanic blood cult, he's living another nightmare, high school, and the demons from his past still making his life a hell. So the sequel is one I was kind of eagerly anticipating to really watch. I was hoping that we were going to get another film. At the end of the first film, we saw a kind of little teaser as to what could happen in the sequel. We saw that we thought that B was maybe not dead because her body had disappeared. So I recently rewatched the first part with my family, and we enjoyed it. I think I might have enjoyed it more the second time because I knew what to expect. And that's what I have to say about this film. If you didn't like it because of its silliness, just its absolute nonsense, where it doesn't make sense, and you kind of have to suspend your disbelief in like massive disbelievability where things just wouldn't happen that way, then you're not going to enjoy this, because there's so much more heightened in this. We have a new location, we have familiar faces. If you've seen the trailer, you see some of those characters from the first one come back. I'm not going to tell you how they come back or who's involved, because I want to keep it completely fresh. I will do a spoiler review for you, so check that out on our channel. Let me know in the comments below where do you think this film's going to go, and who's your favorite character. Don't forget to give me a like and a comment. I really appreciate your support. Let's carry on with the review.
Some heavy cosplay. Just leave it be.
So when I was writing my notes for this, the first thing I was like, ugh, jump scares. I don't mind jump scares, but if they use jump scares to create tension and horror, they need to change it up and do it a bit different. And I have to say, they do.
I already took my dad's car.
There's one character I wanted to talk about first. It's the nurse. You don't see the nurse too often, and the nurse wears many hats, but I just love this character. He's funny, he's has a lot of character. You don't see him that much, but you kind of know what he's about, and I laughed pretty much at every line that he delivered.
A weird little dude with a crush on a murderous fictitious babysitter. We just gotta get you laid.
As what I liked about the first script of the first film, and here it's carried over, is that there's a lot of jokes in the script that you kind of have to think about what the person has said, and then you kind of catch up, because you will laugh at some of the jokes, but to realize what's happening, there's so many nods to films and 80s nostalgia. The score again is very 80s nostalgia, so you have that kind of reminiscent feeling from the feeling that they were trying to create. It's very Scott Pilgrim in that way as well in the first film, and a lot of that carries over. So even jokes that they made in the first film, they will carry over, so that if you've seen the first film, and you probably have because you're watching the sequel, you'll be like, haha, it'll mean more to you, because they're reminiscing, and they're also kind of referencing those jokes from the first film, which I really liked. It gave a sense of like, oh, there's a franchise now, these characters, so with this film they could kind of just dive straight into what's happened. And so Cole, we see now, he's this character that he's trying to live in a world where nobody believes him. Everybody thinks he's crazy, and yet it doesn't take that long for ship to go wrong. And when the ship hits the fan, it's gory. If you thought the first film was gory and creative with their kills, man alive, there was some, I've seen films recently where they're just getting really creative with how they kill people, how they do gory bits. And if you're a fan of horror and unique killings, you definitely get that in this. It's very tongue-in-cheek as well. It's also very funny. They do this nice balancing act between horror and comedy, and it's just when it's getting a bit scary and might just go along, oh, this is a proper horror, it goes along the ridiculousness of how that person died, or what the next person does, or wait a minute, that's not actually how people die, or the blood spray doesn't keep going on, or chunks of human meat shouldn't go like that. It's absolutely that sort of film. So if you take like Scott Pilgrim and a slasher horror teen flick and you mash those two together, it's kind of what you get. I do like the characters in this, and there were moments that I couldn't figure out what was going to happen, which I really like, because normally in films like this you can guess plot point for plot point. There are definitely some characters that are introduced, you'll be like, I know what's going to happen there, I know what's going to happen there. But there are moments in the story I was like, oh, okay, I didn't actually see that coming. Also wanted to give a nod to the trailer, because there's a lot in the trailer that I thought they'd given away, but they actually didn't, which is pretty cool, because so many trailers from Netflix or whatever films you're watching these days, they show stuff in the trailer and you think you know what's going to happen. But in this one, thankfully, they've kept most of it out of the trailer, so you can be like, oh, cool, this is going to be really fresh, but still have the same tone. I really like the fact that it's the location is great, so you're kind of in a lake, a little bit desert, a little bit rocky, and that creates a really nice, different atmosphere. It's very different to that kind of enclosed house setting. This time it feels bigger, it feels more open, although there's a lot of like nods to other horrors, you know, the outback horrors, the cabin in the woods horrors, you know, so that type of thing, and I think it really works in this. I had a lot of fun watching this film. I think it's on the same par for me, so I'm probably still going to give it a B+, because there are things that were just, even though I was able to put aside certain things of even though I was able to put my mind aside and going, okay, it wouldn't happen that way, there are still things that caught me off guard and really took me out of the film. There was one fight sequence that was so ridiculous and so McG. If you think back to the Charlie's Angels films, how they fight on wires, it was so that. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know why you've put that in here. I guess it's a nod to those kind of films, or like, again, like Scott Pilgrim type fights. It took me out of the film, so I was like, what am I watching? And then it kind of got back into the silliness, but more to further the plot. Seeing some of those characters return as well, I thought were a lot of fun. They've brought their characters back exactly how they were. It's like they didn't miss a beat and then they're there. So all in all, the package of this film is a lot of fun. That's what you can take away from this. It's silly, it's really gory, the kills are unique, the story is fun, you'll like where it goes. I think if you like the first one, you're going to love the second one. We'll do more in the spoiler talk, because there's a lot to talk about in the spoilers. So thanks so much for watching this review. Let me know what you thought about this sequel. Do look for my spoiler review, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.